Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the July 26th Kubernetes Contributor Summit Planning. Yay, we're potentially, hopefully, in person again, as long as things get better. As a general reminder, we abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. With that, let's dive right in. So one quick update from me is I opened a PR with general sort of stubbing out all the different sections for the site. I pasted that in the Summit staff channel earlier today. If people could take a look at that, that would be appreciated for anything that should potentially be edited or added before that is merged. Deb, I just saw your other responses in there. I can take care of those later today before they are merged. But if anyone else can, please review that PR and check out the preview of the site. And I think with that, we'll kick over to Deb.
Awesome. I don't have a ton to share today, just some quick updates. First question is on the space layout. You have ballrooms 5 through 10. So I'm just gonna make sure I don't misspeak here. Ballroom 5 is your general session, and then 6 through 10 are the smaller meeting rooms. And right now, 6 through 9 are all set aside for like unconference and the doc sprint and stuff. And then I had noted that folks wanted a staff room, but we only have these small ballrooms. Did we want to make the last room a staff room, or did you want to have the opportunity for a 5th room set up for unconference style so that you can use it there and then folks can just keep their bags with them? I mean, you're going to be sitting in these rooms all day, so yeah, you got places to put things.
I personally think that we can turn it into a staff room. Between the other rooms, we should have plenty of space for content.
I would agree. And in the past, we having that staff room and that like space just to dump a bunch of stuff and like also allow other people to dump stuff, you know, at an ad hoc basis, it's worth it.
Like, I mean, the closet wasn't sufficient.
Yeah, I was going to say in San Diego, we just had a closet, but still that closet was heavily used. So, and I know in Seattle, we had a staff room that was also used. I would say, yeah, turn 10 into a staff room.
Okay.
One other thing, if possible, can it be locked? Like, is there a room, if not that room, that we can store potential items in?
I will find out if we can get a key for that room or not. If we do, it'll be like a 1-person key. It will not be a everyone gets a key situation.
Yeah, it's mostly fine. Like if we're stepping away for a bit, or like Sunday night, we wanted to keep something in there, that would be okay.
Okay. I'm going to switch it out so the staff room is more of like ballroom 8, just because we're keeping ballroom 9 and 10 on Tuesday, and I don't want to pay a second setup fee for those rooms. So that way they'll stay the same both days, and then the staff room is the one that disappears on Tuesday. So
cool.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. And I will, let me make a note about the keys. Perfect. All right. Registration form that is currently being built, and we should have it out to you all by tomorrow morning for testing at the latest, hopefully by end of day, but tomorrow morning definitely. So please keep an eye on that. We are scheduled to go live with the reg form next Monday. So all testing, edits, final approvals, all that fun stuff has to happen this week and be done by Friday at lunchtime. So if anything has to be done by our team, we have time to do it before it goes live on Monday.
Cool.
Sound good? I'll just paste it into the Summit staff channel if that works for everyone.
That works for me. That we will need everyone to go through and just like pick apart for potential problems. The other thing is we'll you be able to give us the like links to what they will be when things go live on Monday? Just so that we can update the site with the reg links and everything.
Yeah, I can give this to you on Friday, actually. So
sweet. Essentially, we can stage a PR and then a Monday morning hit the merge button and be good.
Well, I was gonna suggest, was there like a specific time it was gonna go live? Because what might be worth it, and maybe it's like, maybe we don't need this, but holding off for it to go live until like Monday afternoon after we've had another meeting, just in case like something crazy happens.
We can probably play that one by ear a little bit and just use the Summit staff channel. We will want to coordinate with a comms message to do the general announcement that, hey, this is open. And I don't see, Chris is not on the line, but can ping him about drafting that later. Plus we have the one from last year.
yeah, it just needs to be updated. It's in that comm doc.
Yep.
Should make it easy, but no, I don't have a specific time. So you all let me know. Well, actually, we'll make it live and then you just have to add the link whenever you want it to be ready to go publicly. So.
Okay. You said that the links, would it be the reg links that are going to be included on the general Kubernetes or KubeCon sign up page, or just linking out to kates.dev/summit?
We linked out to the k8.dev to your event website.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, so you know how in the past on the events.linuxfoundation.org, it typically said like contributor summit, and then it linked to the event site that I put together. Now now it still says that, but it links to your site externally.
Nice.
Still listed as part of like the activities that are happening, but it's to your site. So.
Thank you.
And on that?
Not for me. Then.
Okay. And then I have reception location options to review if we'd like to do that. It's just the two that we kind of talked about last week. But I know Pear is the one in charge of that, and I don't see her on this call. So I didn't know if we wanted to wait a moment.
Let's see. If you just want to like dump options in there, if they are available, I will also ping her.
Yeah. Oh, I lost the link. So I linked out to it. The first one is Lucky Strike. I know we mentioned that previously. This one may also be used for KubeCon reception, but it'll be one of like 8 or 10.
Need doc access. It's currently restricted.
Hang on. Sorry about that.
No worries. I can also present my screen for anyone that might, once it becomes available.
Okay, here, I can do that too, actually. Oh, no, you have to be a host.
One sec.
You should have access, though.
Okay, you should be able to do it now.
There we go. All right, does that work?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so the first one is Lucky Strike. I know we mentioned previously it may be used by KubeCon for their reception too. They haven't finalized it yet, but it would be one of many options, so people don't have to actually duplicate. It's a fun activity. It's bowling. You would have 10 bowling lanes, a private lounge area with bar, 2 billiard tables, cornhole, giant Jenga, foosball, food and beverage as always. It's a 2-minute walk from the JW where we're hosting Contributor Summit. Meeting space rental is $4,600 and food and beverage minimum is $15,000 before taxes and service charges. They have an on-site sanitary crew that the word? Cleaning crew, sanitation crew, that's the word I'm looking for. So they would actually just follow around the entire time and clean balls and shoes and lanes and surfaces and all those things throughout the duration of the event. I know that with bowling, there is a lot of touching involved, and so they would be on top of that to ensure that folks are not spreading too many germs, which is good.
So one question on the private lounge area with bar, is that in the same space as all the bowling alleys?
It is. So here in the picture, you can actually see it. So this is
Okay, that is the private lounge.
The Lux Lounge. So there's space here, the lounge space. There are 4 private lanes over here. There's a bar here. And then if you go down where I'm basically standing to take this picture is where they've got the 2 billiard tables and some of the games. And then if you go down this hallway right here, it's just right next to it was where the other 6 lanes would be. So it's all just right in the same general area, making it easy for folks to hang out. And it would be, yeah, essentially that's it.
Have you, did you take this picture? Like, did you visit, or is this just based on, there's a point?
I don't know. Does my photography skills look like a stock photo, or like Deb just takes random pictures?
No. So the reason I ask is, if you remember Seattle, we had a similar like bowling awesome thing, and that was great. But one of the things, and I think Bob was also curious about this, thus his question, having a quiet space was super helpful.
Yep.
Like we wound up just overflowing to this upstairs area in the Seattle Summit celebration, and it was quiet. There wasn't loud noise. There wasn't loud music. And it wound up being like a place for 40 or 50 people wound up like over the course of the night going up there, spending some time there, having like not private conversations, but just quiet conversations, because like downstairs was, you know, loud.
You didn't have to shout over the bowling.
Exactly.
What?
So
I was not at that event. I joined you all after Seattle or in Seattle, something like that. So I don't remember that specific situation. I will say the rest of Lucky Strike is actually closed on Mondays. So you would not be competing against other noise from other groups. And I can find out if they're okay if we kind of flow over, even if they're not, the bar's not open and they're not supporting other areas, that it'd be okay if we flow over into those areas if folks did need a quiet space.
that would be perfect.
The other option I was thinking of would be like, so if this lounge is separate from the other main alleys, we basically, we cut down, say, 2 bowling lanes, but turn that into a quieter space as a potential option there.
But this is where the bar would be. Well, I mean, as long as you're okay with the fact that folks would be in there, because this is where bar and food would be served.
Oh.
So the only thing you would cut down on is the bowling activity itself. We can turn the music down too. Like that's not a problem or anything. You would just have a lot of people in there.
I honestly think if we can overflow to the other area and just like, hey, this is where like quieter seating is, still in full view of everything, it's just a little bit further away, that I think would hit the nail on the head. So
okay, perfect. I'll verify that. Awesome. Okay, then option 2 is Tom's Watch Bar. It is also 2 minutes away. These venues are essentially like across the street from each other. It's the full use of their 360 room, which, as you can tell in the pictures, is a room that is covered in monitors with a 360-degree view. So all the monitors everywhere. And then you also have the patio, which you also see pictured there. It includes the bar. They've got a whole setup for food and beverage as well. They don't have any activities in this area, so we would have to bring activities in. We do get to use the monitors, so we could do our own Jackbox games and have those kind of coordinated. You could bring in, cornhole. You could bring in giant Jenga. Those things aren't an issue. We would just have to bring them in ourselves because they don't supply them. The cost is $2,000 for the room rental, and then the food and beverage minimum is $17,000 before taxes and service fees. So essentially, they are very similarly priced. What one makes up for in food and beverage, the other makes up for in meeting space. So
I almost feel like because this is going to be the first in person in a few years, that the less we have to coordinate, the better. But that's just my opinion.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I will 100% defer to Paris, but my current opinion is they're both equal in terms of cost, and I'll just assume food is, equivalent. One of them we have to bring our own activities. One of them, the activities are already there.
Yep.
I
would personally lean towards bowling.
Yeah.
So
is the 200 coming from the survey?
that's what we're estimating. The 200 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're estimating will show.
That might change. That honestly might change closer to the event. Like, we will see how things continue to play out.
Things are going to change until even halfway through the day of the event at this point. So this is the number that we have to base it on for now. We'll see how things go leading up. I think we're in for a lot of highs and lows, but. And this is also, so this is Monday night, which is also day 00. I don't know. They're 2 days.
-1.
Yeah. At CubeCon. So there are other activities that folks may have to get pulled into, and we have to understand that too. Other thoughts, comments, questions, ideas, notes, any of it?
One thought regarding our first in-person one is it's partially in person. And so I'm here to represent those places where people won't be coming from. And New Zealand is one of those. In order for me to come, I would need to self-isolate on return and pay to stay in a quarantine hotel for 2 weeks on top of all of my travel. So yeah. I would love to find ways for us to intermingle and be present with each other in a way that's, and I look at all of those screens. I wonder what it would be like to have events all over the, just something. I don't know how it would work, but it just inspires me a bit to do something different. And it would require a bit of energy to collaborate that. And I know that that's a lot, but I just wanted to just put that thought up there and remind us that we're not all going to be there.
That would be a way that you could do like the Jackbox games with folks, though, because you could play that from New Zealand and also on the screens there with people.
Absolutely.
Are there any screens in the bowling alley that we could potentially take over?
Not in that same form, but I can look and see if that'd be an opportunity for us to bring some in.
Okay.
It would be fun to take over on each, because the way that those places work is they have a screen per lane. It would be fun to have people show up to a lane on, I don't know if it's, anyway, well, I'm not trying to make it hard. I'm just thinking aloud.
Let people remotely start taking bets on their contributor at the bowling.
Yeah. Like remote, like, esports, like live sport commentary from the Kubernetes contributor, like Zoom or Discord or something. Like, you can join and all be kind of watching on and cheering on fellow contributors. I like that idea a lot. Even like a space where like inside the venue where we've got like a bit like a microphone kind of set up where like people can go and sit around like the mic and say hello and chit chat with like fellow contributors who are abroad. Like, yeah, that would be awesome. Just how
I don't know that we can control the monitors that they have above the bowling lanes. That's a large request for something that usually is not the most technologically savvy monitors usually. bowling alley monitors are not the most, but I can find out if we can bring monitors in or what options we have in terms of any of the monitors. I see some monitors in the back there. Let's see what we got.
Thank you for taking the remote people into consideration.
At least for the day of events, like the stuff going on during the day, we are fully, we're committing pending hotel bandwidth issues to like support as much hybrid capability as possible, with in-room facilitators to help with the, anyone that is remotely joining in remotely. Okay.
It's okay to have some local only things because we don't want to burn out everybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have from my side today.
Okay.
I wonder, so last thing, on par with what Hippie was just talking about. So option 2, I mean, obviously they're going to be those 60 LCDs are going to be independent. I wonder if we can just find out what their AV setup actually is for option 2. Maybe we put that as just get more an idea.
What kind of a question are you looking for there?
Like can we set them, let me get back to you with that one. But I'm just thinking like in response to Hippie, maybe we can utilize 60 screens in 60 different ways, or, at least have people like showing up on the screens or something of that nature. But we should definitely brainstorm that a little bit.
Yeah. So I know that they can do 60 different things. We just have to tell them what they need to do. And I would have to ask if they can do like live stream. I know they can do like TV stuff, obviously, but doing a live stream of like a Zoom meeting's different than a TV channel. So if we're going in that direction.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt they have a camera, but I don't know. Like I'd actually think about, can we actually bring board games? Because board games can be played remotely if you have somebody kind of moving for somebody, or card games or something like that. But I don't know. The question is the stream.
I will say, as someone that has done a lot of board games and stuff remotely, it doesn't work.
It doesn't?
Unless you're like using Board Game Arena or something like that for that sort of thing.
Yeah, oh, that's fair.
Jeff and I have a lot of experience in this.
Like maybe like we can't, because like trying to like coordinate having people remotely join on the like evening stuff while we're all trying to like wind down and stuff might be a lot of overhead, and instead maybe we should dedicate like the end kind of chunk of the contributor summit itself to connecting with like folks from a board and kind of a pre get together,
pre-social,
like a pre-social, yeah. Because I could see how like it could be a bit like, overwhelming, like us all doing all this content stuff, and then like we have to go into like the social space and like do AV stuff, like the full night.
And the idea of like doing less, because we still like people don't know if they will be there or not, and we don't know bandwidth capabilities. We still plan on testing, we still plan on doing all this stuff. I still err on the less that we have to do, the better, or less dependencies that we need, the better.
I withdraw my request. I think it sounds like this is also the first event that anybody's seen each other. Like it's the pre-thing before all the things. Let's not bring the Zoom fatigue with us and start looking at screens. I say go to the
Okay, that's fair.
The other thing is to remember, we are still doing a contributor celebration this year. We are still doing an entirely virtual event to basically try and make sure we hit everyone. We're going to do our... Sorry,
I was going to note the time zone of folks that are not present as well. May be exhausting for them.
Here's another thing to think of. When is the contributor summit celebration party social thing, like when is it starting time wise?
This one attached to
Yeah.
KubeCon or the one at the end of the year?
KubeCon.
No, this one, KubeCon one.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one would start around 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Right, so that's 9 p.m. Eastern, which is like what, 1 a.m. in like GMT.
In the EU.
Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's late for folks. They may not be as fully functioning to participate as they'd like to be, because I know we'd all like them to be.
I think ultimately my view on it is we should pick our battles, making sure that the actual contributor summit is fully hybrid. Everyone can like attend and discuss and collaborate. That's going to be good. If we try and put too much into the celebration itself, like, don't get me wrong, I love a good party with everyone, but I also want to make sure that the people that are there get the attention that is due. And we are going to already be planning something at the end of the year to try and get everyone that wasn't able to come together and have fun and like celebrate that way.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions, comments, concerns regarding the reception? Okay. That takes us to content.
Actually, I do have one question here, which is, if it's, 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out from the event, and we're starting to get the idea that our turnout is going to be lower than currently expected, is there any ability to downsize either of the contracts?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
So if it's like 2 to 3 weeks out from the event, and based on sort of community feedback, et cetera, we're starting to think that our attendance might be lower than expected, than is expected now, than the 200 that's currently expected. Do we have any ability to scale down either of the contracts?
I have not received either of the contracts yet, so that's something we definitely include. We now have like COVID cancellation language and stuff that we try to get included in all of it, reduction clauses, things like that. Whether they accept it or not is a different situation. I won't know that until we actually pick a venue and start moving forward with the conversation. But yeah, we have a lot of new additional legal clauses in everything we do now to try and protect ourselves and the money and attendees and everyone. So
I can only imagine. Okay, now for the reception. Is there anything like any last minute comments, anything like that? Okay. Content wise, we don't really have anything here yet, just because it's still really early. I think I sent it last time. If folks can review our focus is going to be on conference, but if anyone does absolutely know we want to, if there is some good stuff that we can have at the event, no matter what, that we should still have a CFP for say one room.
Yeah, so in a sense, there's we have the one big room and the rest are smaller rooms. That big room would be a good example for, just an example, one of Dawkins' pretty awesome talks about how to submit an awesome PR. Aaron doing another deflaking presentation would be another good one that would fit in the main room. Whereas smaller SIG one-offs would probably be good in unconference. That's kind of mentally how I'm seeing things shake out in this.
Yeah, I agree with that. For the unconference, do we want to do a whiteboard or do we want to have a pre-existing CFP?
It will have to be a pre-existing thing within like the
Okay.
week of, just
Yep.
because there will be, virtual options.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Yep.
like if it's a whiteboard, the virtual attendees will not have a chance to vote.
Makes sense.
As far as the actual determining of topics and voting and all that, that is the TBD. There are a couple options like using, GitHub discussions where you can sort of like upvote, downvote things. Or actually, no, that's only
That's a
threads,
good
right? Has anyone actually used discussions? Or Laura?
I haven't used discussions for it, but I mean, Miro is one. I already have a Miro account, so it'd be really easy to do. But a lot of those kind of whiteboarding ones where you can put up sticky notes and then allow dot voting. So I think that might be one way to do it that keeps it not too cluttered.
There's also like stickies.io.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stickies.io works wonderfully for this kind of thing. So it's just kind of curating it right ahead of time to make sure, like, if there are duplicates, that someone's watching for merging and also watching for like anything that maybe could get paired together that's getting a lot of split voting. So it's kind of watching for that kind of thing on an active basis that week ahead.
Okay. So I think the next steps, at least for content right now, is review the CFP form that is attached to registration. We want to like have the link, like there is not language in there right now regarding like unconference or any other stuff, but like if people do have ideas that they know they will be there, know they want to present, have that in there. So you can paste the link in the notes and all that later.
Do we have that link?
Yes, it's in the registration doc, and I can get it.
I can get it. No, you're good.
Okay.
I can find it. I just didn't know where to look for it.
Content-wise, other questions, comments? Okay. Communications, I don't think there's any real updates here outside of site going live. Chris is taking point on general comms. Reg updates. I know Deb kind of gave the update earlier. There isn't really any other comments until the reg is actually live. Or no, do you have anything? I will lean towards no.
Nose off the hook.
Yep.
For now.
And we've already talked about the celebration. So Hippie.
Hi everybody. I love contribution. I think it is what empowers invitation and inclusion for every human on the planet. And I've been stewing on some ideas for a really long time. And I think there's an opportunity this week for me and our team and our broader Kubernetes and cloud native community to invite a nation and my area to be a part of the cloud and bring it down from this mystical overseas thing to something meaningful where we live. And anytime I do something, I think about how it can be used anywhere else in the world so that we can replicate this. So as you see any of these things I write down here, think about how you might do them in your local area to encourage your community to be able to hold and grasp this thing that we all hold dearly, I think, and has an impact on our lives. I'd love it to have an impact on more lives. to be clear, there is Thursday and Friday this week. There is an event that has been going on for over a decade where 5,000 plus local students from universities and high schools, they call them colleges here, are going to figure out what their next steps are. And I want to make it super easy for them to be part of our community. If we could get 10, that would be great. If we got 100, it would blow my mind. Just to get them over that first step of grabbing that patch and a badge to say they're contributors. And then I like to say that contribution equals ownership in open source. So they get to feel the ownership. The members of my team, when they get that badge and feel the inclusion of ownership, it's palatable in the room with them. They're so excited to be part of this global thing. We have people from New Zealand that have done this. One of them is in the room with us. Allison actually started, I don't know, we're really not to an hour and a half away, maybe an hour and 15 minutes from where I live in Denver, who works with the Volk and everybody on a lot of the strategic initiatives for the CNCF. Grew up in Caddy, about 30 minutes from here. And Ren, I don't think they're on the call, but they also have a deep connection to New Zealand and have all made their mark and are leading in various areas. And it would be lovely to just get an encouraging video or maybe remote in if the time allows. Another idea that I had was inviting and encouraging a remote on the ground thing during KubeCon to see if I can get a university to donate a very large space with lots of screens so that we can meet in person here and show up in a meaningful way to each other, but also feel super connected to this larger community that we would love to be connected with. Thank you,
So
Allison.
that we might be able to do for like during the contributor summit, because virtual, like assuming there's bandwidth, virtual attendees to be able to participate. KubeCon as a whole, that's Deb had to drop, but that would definitely be the CNCF side of things.
Absolutely.
And as far as I know, like the whole event is meant to be hybrid. So
yeah.
I think that's I mean, not speaking for Deb or the CNCF, I think that's going to be attainable.
I'll definitely continue to work with my contacts at the CNCF, but this is my first time outside of these close contacts to throw these ideas up there so that we can think about it, not just for New Zealand, but for elsewhere. One of the things that we're doing a little different, and this doesn't come from the CNCF or anywhere else, this comes from II, in that our nation, we can't import anybody right now at all. And all of our businesses and everybody's suffering from here's the hardest thing. Our neighbor nation of Australia, they're flying over and talking to all the lawyers and saying, we'll give you 150K raise, 200K raise to leave New Zealand and go work there. And it's similar in tech. And it's hard. So in order for us to grow the capabilities as a nation, we need to bring up more cloud native people. So I want to encourage students to contribute and encourage them to go from contributor to employment. And I want to be able to help them connect with our community. So we're going to do bi-weekly local meetups and help onboard them. And I thought it might be meaningful if II could be one of their sponsors, but be sure that someone overseas is able to be one of their other sponsors to encourage that, to get that badge, get that thing of inclusion. But also, I wanted to make sure that there was some, I was going to give $100 at one point. I said, you know what, let's up the ante. Let's give them a cloud keyboard for these Pi 400s. The whole kit, everything up to just plugging it into a screen. There's some beautiful things we can do with that I'm not going to talk about at the moment, but we can come back to. But that allows everybody to connect things to the cloud. And all of our demo that we're going to be demonstrating at the event uses Pi 400s and these keyboards. To take that a step further, to help them onboard to. Go ahead.
As far as the summit goes, like I think I don't know how much we can actually achieve here. Is this just like talking about ideas for it, or?
This is, so for the summit, these are things for us, so contributor summit, the reason we haven't had a remote one yet. And so I'm trying to figure out how this to be a launch point into a summit type thing, because this is for me 2 days of inviting people to contribute. And I'm trying to make sure that the output of this matches up and has feedback from the people that are part of Contributor Summit, because the ideas overlap so heavily. It would be nice if for the Contributor Summit, like I thought about this, there's a week before KubeCon, and this is all a public holiday for the students. So I could have a boot camp or something before where there's actually an on the ground Contributor Summit. And I was just trying to find some ideas that would amplify our work on the ground to get them across here. But these ideas, I have to have a bit concrete this week to deliver a proper invitation. So it was just feedback, because I do need to continue with that, and maybe some encouragement and ideas to change if this, hippie, you got this, this is not going to work. I'd love to hear that now versus me reporting back, hey, that didn't work. And you're like, I need that. I think that's it. The rest of it was me sort of just trying to write those things down.
Okay.
The remote gathering, the contributor patch to kind of sorted, and that's it. So we'll shorten it to get back to here.
For some of the stuff, if you want to get like more, I know a lot of the people in here also watch the ContribEx channel, but I'd also drop the notes and everything in the SIG ContribEx channel. And we can put those ideas too on, although it wouldn't be as a deliverable for this week, but as other ideas and things like that when it comes to approaching stuff for ContribEx later. Like one of the big things I know we're doing, Allison has actually been spearheading this, has been the turning the contributor workshop into a course that people can follow without having to be physically at like a summit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
go for it.
I just wanted to iterate, like, I think we initially, like, we wanted to do like a virtual summit, but like when we visited the idea, like there was a lot of like Zoom fatigue like already amongst like contributors, so we kind of avoided that. But coming back to your point of like doing stuff in New Zealand and like bringing up like more student contributors and all that, I'm totally on board with you there. Like on those parts, I would reach out to Panos at Waikato Uni because Kubernetes is one of the things like he teaches in part of the courses that he teaches. So like, and all his research students are doing Kubernetes related stuff. Last time, like I checked in with him, yeah.
Right.
He's a good person to talk to because he's very enthusiastic and always wants to like help get boots on the ground initiatives moving forward. Yeah. And in terms of getting like more student contributors and giving students a better path into tech that isn't the, again, like prescribed, you must go to your internship and do this, like giving them a path which is like you can go contribute to open source and hang out with cool people. I think like having the contributor workshop, like the aim for the contributor workshop is ideally get that shipped out, a beta version that's usable by a contributor summit of this year in LA, which is October. But yeah, I think that's the entirety of like my I've lost my train of thought again. But yeah, once that beta is shipped out, like having perhaps groups of like youth, like students in New Zealand, like test out that contributor guide and provide us feedback, and we can like help step through the guides and all that with them. That would be really good because we can use it as like, the beta
they're the
test.
great new contributor. They're the best
they're
person
the great
to
new
like.
contributors, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had some really good. Go ahead. We had some really good feedback. Go ahead. The lights are funny. You go.
You go. I insist.
Okay,
I
I'm
like
gonna
your
go.
thought.
We've had some really good feedback on pair, and this comes from a person who's never been on our calls before, and she showed up to just review as part of the release team as Shadow, and noted she was impressed by the invitation to contribute. And I have a link somewhere to what she said during our SIG architecture call. And sorry, my name, the name is not coming to me immediately. Go ahead.
I want to continue this topic, but like we have 10 minutes left. So is there anything like else that people want to get out and talk about now that might be an issue? Sorry, I don't want to like, this is a topic that, you know, needs discussion, but I just want to make sure that all our bases are covered by the end of the clock. Okay, I think we're clear. Sorry.
All good. The pair itself being completely in the cloud and having everything they needed to contribute to Kubernetes. And Allison's, I think we had split out the contributor onboarding, those parts that my team had been assigned, that we've actually worked through and put into org files to load into that as one of the streams, and the output of that was meant to be markdown or whatever we need for the other pieces. And I wonder if we don't try to iterate on that in parallel with a different, you know, another way. What would be lovely is if we were able to find, and this may crawl some technical work, is putting a VS Code front end, because our current back end is Emacs, and I want to make sure that we allow different people to hold this. And if we had a cloud-based VS Code that was sitting inside a cluster that was created on the fly for that student to pair with someone, I think that would be an easy way to get people all the way through from learning to contribute to getting that badge.
It's
I worked, go ahead.
I just the pairing with someone live, like my only concern is like how would that work in a context where like there's all these different people from different parts of the world, and they might not be necessarily like on the contributor kind of documentation, the contributor workshop documentation at the same time. Like, would we like have this as like, you know, like a timed event thing where it's like you can come join in on this live pairing session at these times, someone will be here, and like having that as an option inside our contributor workshop kind of guide thing, where like we've got, you know, join our interactive workshops, they happen at these times in a month. Yeah, that's just a thought that just popped across my mind.
The time coordination is a real issue. There's a thing in ContribEx about like doing this in general.
Or if it's just something like a kind of Katacoda style environment where it's like, you know, you just bring up this environment and you can start, you know, practicing like exercises how you would contribute to Kubernetes. Like we could like try do that embed on the contributor site. But yeah, that's just a thought that came up. But if you like to continue, Hippie, yeah.
I think with our students that we find after Friday, that this will start to become a lot more clear as how it's held and what it looks like. It's definitely something that works in both ways, where you can you know, create it and it allows you just to interact by yourself, because most of our teams spin up new boxes every morning and then they just delete them by the end of their day. The key thing is being able to invite someone and just share and say, could you give me a hand with this? We're sitting at this point, and having the flow of here's the steps to walk through and having it guide you through those steps, because some of the things we do are fairly complex and even I can lose my place. It just allows us to have this set of things to follow. And if any of my team gets stuck, they need unblocking.
This would also be a good thing to discuss at the mentoring meeting and get that stuff on there.
Thank you for providing clarity on where these things to discuss is. I will try to make sure I keep this meeting for stuff specific to the contributor summit planning. I feel like I stepped a bit out of my swim lane and I'm learning.
It's all good. It happens. And it's also like, you know, time zones are hard.
This is the one I can make it to.
I know, like, for a fact that mentoring meeting is in an awful kind of spot, like, for like Oceania folks to join in. Like, I was just looking at the time on that
but
one.
nobody
It's
showed
like,
up to it. It was just me and 1 or 2 others.
yeah, so like maybe like a good place to coordinate would be on the Slack threads on like every like second week. So this week I think it's like a Slack thread for the ContribEx meeting, and then try figure that out async, and then have on the fly calls perhaps for like coordinating over some of these efforts. Like if you need feedback, like reaching out to schedule like a call with other folks and mentoring might be like, it might be a good idea, because I find that like if we go through the whole ritual of like trying to like find a good meeting time again, it might not stick. Whereas like an async, like on the fly, I need some feedback about this, like every now and then kind of thing, like might be more easier to approach. I don't know. That's just a thought in my head around the meeting dilemma. What do you have any, does anyone else have any? Bob, Josh?
I'll shift my thoughts to Slack as best I can and bring back thoughts for.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to like reach out and like set up a call. Like you can set up a call with me if you'd like to chat more about the New Zealand stuff and like the trying to grow contributors thing, because I think that would be a good area to have a chat with.
That'd be great. I will do that. Is there another area? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say if there's nothing else, we can call it here, because I got 5 minutes before my next meeting.
Give you 5 minutes. Take it.
Yep. Later, all. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
See you on the internet.